What if I told you that the number one secret to game design success isn't about inventing groundbreaking mechanics or polishing every tiny detail of your game? It's actually knowing your player so well that you can create games that they truly love. Stick around, because in just a few minutes I'll show you how understanding your player can turn your game from a tangled mess into a beloved masterpiece. Hi, I'm Kal Gryphus, a fellow game creator on a mission to help you turn your ideas into beautiful, successful games. On this channel, I share the hard lessons I've learned on my journey so you can avoid the mistakes I've made in the past. Now, let's dive into today's topic. You have an incredible idea for a game, maybe even several. You can see the finished product in your mind and you believe it will be the next big thing. But when you sit down to start developing, one of these things happens. You are overwhelmed by too many decisions and abandon the project before it even gets off the ground. You keep adding new features because you think your game needs them all, but it gets stuck in development hell and it never sees the light of day. You push through the grind to finally release your game, only to find out that it doesn't resonate with players as you'd hoped and no one wants to play it. These are the three most common scenarios where games fail. And here's the powerful truth. There's one single solution that addresses all of them. You just don't know it yet. In all these scenarios, the root cause is the same. You don't know who are you designing your game for. Let's get one thing clear. It's not you. You are the creator, not the player. We all make these mistakes when we start making games, and some designers forget this fundamental rule even later in their careers. And that's okay, because we all fell in love with games by playing them. But the first step to finding your audience is changing your mindset. You are not making this game for yourself. So, who is it for then? Not everyone else. Many game creators feel the pressure to please all kinds of players. Different players want different things, and sometimes those things don't go well with each other, and sometimes those things are even incompatible. The notoriously challenging combat in Dark Souls or Elden Ring is amazing for the right group of people, but it's far from the experience I would recommend to someone who enjoys the cozy and relaxing atmosphere of Stardew Valley, for example. And it's not like you can't enjoy both of those very different game experiences. In fact, you can. I personally love both of those games. But I go to both of them to satisfy different needs as a player. Game creators often feel the pressure to add features like multiplayer, PvP modes, crafting systems, and complex skill trees, all to attract larger audience. But in doing so, they dilute the core experience that makes their game unique. Your game should do one thing really well for one group of people before trying to add more and attract a larger audience. This mistake is something I see from experienced game creators all the time. Do you agree with me, or you have a different opinion? Share in the comments below. Let's examine how this works for From Software, the creators of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Elden Ring. They perfected the Souls-like formula over decades and multiple games, slowly experimenting and making changes carefully to their battle system, environmental storytelling, difficulty, level design and world design, and of course their PvP mode. If you think Elden Ring is just Dark Souls but open world, well, that's exactly what it is, and we love it for that. From Software understood perfectly who their core player is, what are their gaming motivation, and what is their desired experience, and focused on delivering that every single time. By focusing on their player and not on all players, they became a behemoth and one of the most beloved developers in the industry, creating masterpiece after masterpiece. Now that we know the importance of focusing on a specific group of players, the next step is understanding who they are, their abilities, preferences, demographics, habits, and most importantly, their gaming motivations. That's why I encourage you to create a player persona document, a detailed profile of your ideal player. This document will serve as your guiding compass, helping you make informed design choices as you develop your game. Creating a player persona is simple. Start with a blank document or a piece of paper and ask yourself this question: who am I making this game for? Picture the player. What are they like? Are you designing for kids, teens, or adults? Age affects everything, from the complexity of mechanics to the art style and tone of your game. What types of games do they enjoy? Fast-paced shooters, like Call of Duty, relaxing simulations, like The Sims, or intellectually challenging puzzles, like Baba Is You. Understanding their interests will shape your game's overall feel and direction. Is your player a casual gamer who plays in short bursts of time? Or is he the hardcore type who can invest hours mastering mechanics? This question will help you decide the length of your core gameplay loops. Do they want challenge and mastery, or do they want to feel smart? Perhaps they need a power trip, or are they simply looking to chill and relax in your game world? The answer to this question will show you the emotional core of your game and can affect every decision you make when designing your game. If there's only one thing you remember from this video, let it be this: define your player's desired experience and make everything in your game about it. Remember that creating a player persona is a process, and it's okay if you don't figure it out completely at the start. You refine it as you learn more about your player, much like a real relationship. You get to know him, and in the end, you'll be able to create something that truly resonates with your player. But let's be real, all this can be overwhelming. When I started as a solo game designer, I wished that there was a place where I can access and learn information like this, find game design resources, and connect with other game creators. Unfortunately, such a place didn't exist back then. That's why I've decided to create one, the Diamond Game Guild. It's a Discord community for game creators like you and me, where we can learn from each other, master our craft, and create the beautiful games we envision. As a welcome gift for everyone who wants to join the community, I've put together a starter pack. It's a bundle of essential design resources, including my personal player persona template. It's designed to help you understand your audience and apply everything we've discussed in this video. I invite you to join the Diamond Game Guild and get the starter pack. It's free and the link is in the description. I also want to share a story of the dangers of not knowing who your player is. The story of Battlefront 2, one of the most infamous game launches in recent history. This game was supposed to be an epic Star Wars adventure, immersing players in a galaxy far, far away. However, EA's failure to recognize the game's audience turned it into a disaster. Players expected to feel like heroes in the Star Wars universe, engaging in thrilling battles with iconic characters. Instead, they were met with grind-heavy progression systems and locked content that was designed for profit over player enjoyment. The monetization strategy was so aggressive that it sparked a massive backlash from the gaming community, who felt that their expectations were completely ignored. The uproar over Battlefront 2's loot boxes and microtransactions was so intense that it drew the attentions of governments worldwide. In countries like Belgium, authorities investigated if indeed loot boxes were a form of gambling, which led to changes in national gambling regulations. Imagine that. A single game's missteps and the inability of their publisher to recognize their core audience led to national gambling regulation changes. Ultimately, EA and DICE, the developers, had to overhaul the game, removing the pay-to-win elements and refocusing on what players truly wanted: an authentic, engaging Star Wars experience that honored the legacy of the franchise. But by then, the damage was done. The lesson here is clear. When you don't understand your player or what they are looking for, you risk losing them entirely. While EA has the resources to recover from such a blunder, for creators like you and me, a mistake of that kind could mean game over. This story is a stark reminder of why knowing and honoring your player is absolutely crucial. Here's the bottom line. You are not creating a game for yourself, and you are not creating a game for everyone. You are creating a game for a specific group of players with specific desires and specific motivations. By crafting a detailed persona document, you can tailor every aspect of your game, mechanics, art, sound, UI and UX, to deliver exactly what your player wants to experience. Even the monetization. No matter if you're just starting or you are deep into development, knowing your player can transform your game design process and lead to success. I have learned that from experience. If you are serious about taking your game design skills to the next level, I invite you to join the Diamonds Game Guild. It's a community for passionate game creators like you and me. Together we learn, share resources, and support each other in mastering our craft. As a welcome gift, you will receive the starter pack. It's a bundle of essential game design resources, including my personal player persona template. It's free and the link is in the description. Keep creating, stay focused on your player, and let's make games that players truly love.